The story starts where I'm lost in my thoughts and I start to hear voices. Oh hero, please save this world, you're the hero. Help, please save me hero, save me. Voices playing around me, begging me for help, claiming that I am the hero. Millions of hands came rushing towards me as if they were making me a god. I was only a kid, and was overwhelmed with voices imploring my help. I could no longer hold my emotions, tears start to course through my cheeks. Mom, I called out. Everyone's claiming me as their hero. Why do I have to be their hero? I spoke with my head facing down the ground. However, my mother apathetically stood in front of me and said nothing. I don't want to do this anymore, it's too hard. I continued sobbing as my mother placed her hand on my shoulder. My son, she replied. You're the hope to this world, so stop whining and die like a hero. Suddenly I felt a strong push from my mother. I fell in shocked with my hands stretched forth trying to grab onto something and tears smeared across my face. All I remember was that there was countless of hands below me ready to make me their hero. Tick, a drop of water drib onto my cheeks. Back to reality. A glaring light shone over my face with raindrops drizzling all over me as I lay down on the ground. Awakened, Kim sung in. I slowly sat up. Still in a daze, I stood up picking up my sword. I thought I could get some rest here, I mumbled to myself. As I stood afar, I saw numerous creatures awaiting me from afar, some tall, some short. They all have their own distinct features, and probably they are hungry. Surely not giving me any time to rest. I sighed, and a hell lot of them are heading to the building I am standing on. Mana load, 97, mana level, 9, ayo. Look at the scale-like creature and the non-scaled one, don't they look like they from Aliens vs Predator? Alright, that's a reference to Hollywood. Back to story, I exhaled silently, and swoosh, I charged into the swamp of creatures. With a fling from my sword, title, hero, I slashed several of them. Well, some of them actually got beheaded and many of them were halved, quartered, three-quartered. I don't know, but my point is I killed them. And to add the final cherry onto the pie, I accidentally crushed one of them head with my foot. Okay, I just wanted to show off a little. I actually did a somersault in the air and strike, not the demons. If you actually know physics, striking a demon would cause less impact. The whole point is I struck the ground and killed many more. Huff, huff, huff. I panted heavily. Suddenly I felt like my legs failed me and I fell to ground on one knee and coughed blood. You truly are humans, hero, a loud voice thundered through the sky. God, probably not. A large purple hand pressed onto one of the abandoned buildings. A gigantic purple miniature towers over me. What enviable strength, he spoke in a blaring voice. I kneeled one knee down to the ground, trying to regain my strength for the final battle. I, Fafnir, he proclaimed as he charged towards me, have acknowledged you could be a part of me. I looked at him exhausted. After I bring you down I will make that strength mine, he continued. Boom! I fell to the ground injured. Ah! Fatigue, 98. Is this the end? I lay down on the ground as Fafnir looked down at me with no mercy in his eyes. A hero, what a joke, I thought to myself. Out of the blue, a blazing purple beam struck the earth, bringing in millions more of these creatures into the world. Not just those that tread on the ground but those that glide the skies too. And there was me, injured under the rain, exhausted and blood-stained all over me, devastated as I couldn't even protect a single person. A hero, I am not fit to be one, I thought to myself, preparing to look death in the eye as Fafnir raises his fist to end me in one last blow. I sat there ready to accept my fate as the fist came hurling towards me. I'm nothing, that was my final thought. As I thought I was dead, suddenly I heard noises around me. I tried to open my eyes. Blurrily I saw three persons standing in front of me. Hey, they call out. However, the sun was shining so strongly upon me that I began to slowly open my eyes. Hey, Kim Soo-hyun? You fainted suddenly, we actually thought you dead. They shouted excitedly. Out of shock, my eyes widened, I sat up immediately unsure of my surrounding. What the heck? Why you sitting up like a ghost? I didn't answer them but was perplexed at what happened. I looked at my hands then at the bright blue sky. I looked up, forward. Is this a dream? I mused. Fafnir was just... As I spoke up, they interrupted me calling me a sleep talker. If you're up now then it's time for a beating, the bully with the yellow demanded. Are you guys all... Once again he interrupted. Now cut the crap and grit your teeth. As I look up and saw his punch came flying towards me. Instinctively I hold his fist, reel it away from my face, and struck his face as hard as possible, which threw him away from me as he falls back down to the ground. The others were speechless on what they just saw. Ah damn! Sorry, my hand just... I tried to apologize. Are you crazy? It's Kim Soo-hyun, I will beat your ass. As they were still in a conflict, an alarming siren was heard nearby. Kwanjang-yuk, the police are here, one of them warned. Kim Soo-hyun, I want to see you in school tomorrow. I just sat there still confused about the situation. Kim Soo-hyun. But, I am Kim Sung-in, I murmured to myself. Slowly I stood up from where I was sitting as pain coursed through my body, but still trying to find an answer to what is happening. I stood up and noticed there was an old phone on the floor. Slowly I picked that phone up. Who were those guys? I thought. When I picked up that old phone, I got even more confused as I looked into the screen. Who is this? The world ended in 2042 after dungeons started to appear in different parts of the earth. Monsters started to permeate the earth, and those that aren't cleared were invading the present. This phenomenon was named the outbreak, and brutally destroyed the peace in the world. Havoc broke out. Few of the humans on the other hand adapted and gained inhuman capabilities to fight against the disaster. They are known as the Awakeners. I was one of them. I was the only one standing, even every human had died, and I continued the fight alone. I was the last survivor in the human race, and the strongest Awakener. So what was your name? The officer asked. I was still in a daze, contemplating on whatever just happened to me. Kim Soo-hyun, I replied stuttering. Your birth date? He asked again. Pardon. How old are you? Gosh, can't you focus for once? The officer impatiently demanded. However, I am unsure of how old was this body. I turned around and stared, and a calendar pinned to the wall, and it said 2022. But shouldn't it be 2042? I am in the past. Hoi, answer me. The officer demanded again. I'm 19, I replied. Since I am in the body of what seems like a student's body. And you don't know your address? Bastard. That doesn't make sense that you know nothing but your name and age, the officer continued. But my brain was still stuck at my death in 2042. Is this a dream or Fafnir's magic? I could only recall Fafnir throwing his purplish fiery fist towards me as I surrender my spirit. But at the same time, whatever I am feeling now does feel like reality. I really went back to the past, but what happened to original me? Is there a way to return to that body? I am not sure. Sigh, no point talking to you, your mother is coming to pick you up shortly. Just go. The officer finally gave up the interview. Despite me blanking out during the interview, the officer still warned me stay away from the construction sites, as that appears around the construction site. That, I thought to myself. Soo-hyun. Suddenly a voice of panic floats through the room. What happened and why are you in the police station? Why are looking like this? The woman anxiously asked and grabbed my face tightly. Soon she calmed down and with a look of devastation she asked, Son, are you all right? But to me she was just another stranger, though she was my mother. How could you forget your home address? I know we just moved her, but still. Are you stressed lately? She asked concerningly. I am still not quite used to the new address, so, I replied. Why are you so formal today? The lady asked. Is that so? I followed up as the atmosphere between us suddenly turned awkward. I think I should apologize for causing trouble, I thought. Here, cleaned yourself up? She pulled out a white handkerchief. And start cleaning my face. I heard those kids in school bullied you again. How could they be so senseless? The woman angrily declared. Tell me if they do that again. I won't let them off the next time, she continued. I looked at her speechless. But, don't you think it's pretty empty in the park today? Did something just happen? She changed the topic suddenly. It is pretty empty in the park though, I thought, when suddenly a footstep of what seems like a dog, with two long canines protruding from its mouth, was stalking us. Aren't you coming? She asked gently when I noticed something out of the blue. Footsteps of the creature came dashing to us closer and closer every second, and when I turned around the creature had already opened its mouth filled with razor-sharp teeth, ready to attack us. A wolf. That's what it seems like. Instinctively, I pushed my mother away from the attack and the wolf ripped a piece of cloth out of me. The wolf drifted a little distance from us as it positioned for another attack. This is not just any wolf, it's a werewolf. So that thing the police mentioned about was the outbreak? In the year 2022 was the time where the rate of outbreaks happening was constantly on the higher end, where monsters appear more often in the middle of the city. However, the problem I'm facing now is that it's not just one of them werewolves but two, and I do not have any weapons on me. I turned around and the closest thing to a weapon was an umbrella. Without a choice, I grabbed that umbrella as a weapon, pointing at them at a distance, warning my mother not to move. The second issue now I am facing is that I'm not in my original form where I was stronger. As the wolf charges towards me, I dodged its bite, and swung the umbrella as hard as possible, striking it in the abdomen, hence killing the werewolf. Before I have time to position another attack, another of the werewolf ambush from behind. The umbrella that once used as a weapon is now a shield. I push the umbrella into the mouth of the werewolf, preventing bites from that razor teeth. Despite my effort, the weight of the wolf was too much for this body, that I couldn't even inflict much damage on a low-grade monster. At the moment I wished I was at least an awakener. As I was struggling with the second werewolf, the third came charging at me. I turned my head, looking at it. Looking death in the face once again. Thuck! My mother, with all her might, gathered her courage, pushing the third werewolf away from me. This scene left me gobsmacked, but I was helpless as I was too fighting for my life. Mother, why did you save me? I was bewildered at what I saw as my mother fell hard to the ground after pushing the werewolf with all her might. At that instant I gathered up the remaining strength I had, and with a kick, the werewolf that was on me fell to the ground. Anxiously I went to check on my mother, despite the fact that the werewolves are pretty much alive. Mother! I yelled out. Why did you do that? I asked. Soo-hyun, I'm all right. Please made it out alive. I was astounded with her answer. I never once seen this lady as my mother, yet she treated me like a son. After saying those words, the lady passed out. I tried to shake her back to conscious, but my efforts are very much useless. With the werewolves up for another fight, I was left alone, shattered. With vengeance filled my heart, I asked, "Are you ready to die?" With determination in their eyes, they leaped off the park instead. With the umbrella in my hands, I tried pursuing them, however my legs failed me, and I ended spraining my ankle, hence falling flat on my back. That was embarrassing. Am I really that weak? With both of us injured, I strengthened myself carrying my mother on my back when suddenly I felt a sharp pain in my back from the fight earlier. Now we have another issue. Where is my house? Well, although it was a long walk, we somehow managed to find home, thanks to an address in the wallet. Soo-hyun, my mother suddenly called out. Mother's with you? Everything will be all right, just run away. My mother continued, though she is already passed out. Once again, those words felt so comforting that I didn't know how to react. She went all out as to putting herself in danger just for my safety. But why? To protect me. I stared at the lady, touched by her previous actions. However, why am I stuck in this weak body that I even struggle to fight a few weak monsters? Did I really reborn into such a useless being? Just to repeat my mistakes? I have to calm down, even when I am stuck in times like this. Tower of Trial requesting. Suddenly a robotic voice appears out of nowhere, speaking through a portal. User confirmation approved. Subject, Kim Soo-hyun. Gate opened. The portal is the abyss. If the abyss door has opened, then this means this body has the courage to be an awakener. In other words, I could start all over again in the body of Kim Soo-hyun. Now that I reflect, I was a nobody too when I was Kim Sung-in, and I am entering the abyss much quicker than I did in my past life. I stared at it for a second and decided I don't have any more time to waste. I step into the abyss. Welcome to the Tower of Trials. Let me explain what is the Tower of Trials, aka the Abyss. First off, it's a hollow where demons are punished for eternity. Secondly, once you're able to clear the first floor of this tower, you are in the qualification to become an awakener. Gradually, you will become stronger by clearing the trials of higher floors. Technically it is something like a game: you win, you get more equipment, but this is a game of life and death. And that's the reason to why people aims to clear the higher floors. Even so, there is a system in this tower that is more important than the floors themselves. That's it. Subject, Kim Soo-hyun. Trial is about to begin. Challenge level 1. Please select difficulty. You may choose from a minimum of 1 to 10. 1 being the easiest and 10 the hardest. 10 I selected in confidence. You have selected 10 hardest difficulty. Even though it's the same first floor, the higher the difficulty, the stronger its enemies. And the stronger the enemies, the greater its reward. That means greater risk too. Well, in short, high risk, high reward. Tower of Trial Floor 1, setting up the difficulty 10 trial. Well, to be honest, I am not very confident with this difficulty. The furthest Kim Sung-in has ever gone was floor 8. But, I need to pass this. I can't keep repeating my mistakes in the past. I would only end up in the same tragic every life. Please select weapon. Right then countless weapons fell from the sky, each with different abilities. And there and then, the portal shrinks, preparing for my next setup. Your trial will begin. I held the weapon in my hand tightly, with a purpose in mind to face my mistakes. Few hours later, I was brought to a city in the middle of the night. Ah! A sharp scream from a man was heard a mile away. Someone, help me! He shouted as two werewolves are closing into him. Monster! Closer and closer, the werewolves paced towards its victim, cornering its victim, then a leap into the air, opening its mouth, attempting an attack. I found you. I was teleported to where the werewolves were and threw a kick to one of the werewolves mid-air. And with the weapon, an umbrella from before, I was equipped with, I pulled my hand back, swinging it forward, smashing the ground hard, thus brutally severing the werewolf into parts. Hence in cold blood I killed one of them. With the sight of flesh and bones raining from the sky, the other werewolf was dumbfounded, uncertain about its next move, seeing its partner being ripped into pieces. I told you I wouldn't let you go, didn't I? In my heart, all I wanted to do was to avenge my mother for what they did to her earlier. Stunned at what it saw, not even moving a muscle, I saw my chance of assault. Zap! A slash. Kim Soo-hyun has awakened. Cleared Tower of Trials, first floor, difficulty 10. Today's news. Recently, the frequency of dungeon formation is on an increased comparing to that of 2019 when the dungeons first appeared. The amount of dungeons is approximately 3 times more than it used to be. This sudden appearances of dungeons has greatly impacted the world, causing a string of controversies. Similarity can be observed in both Tower of Trials and dungeons, however the systems differ slightly between these two. Before this nobody paid any attention to what they were, and right now the focus towards them grew day by day. In dungeons, the presence of energy sources are very much available. This kind of energy sources are known as ether stones. Due to their rarity, prices of this stones are recently on a high. This stones affect the economy much, due to its demand. The awakened on the hand are always rewarded with material sense and fame from raiding the dungeons. However, there are cases in some locations where monsters from the dungeon have escaped into reality. This phenomenon is known as the outbreak, and to this very day it is still causing much problems to our society. As the dungeon grows, stronger monsters gain the access into our world, and it will only worsen in the future. Back to base of the abyss, and right here people are surprised. Surprised at the recently updated scoreboard. I have never seen that name before, one of them claimed. Is that even possible to achieve such score in the first level? The other questioned. 2230 points? And the second place has only 940 points. Suddenly I became a hot topic to the people in the first level. Who is Kim Soo-hyun? As I stepped out of a dimension into the base. Whoa, it's been a long time since I was here. I sighed. The abysses in my past world was a large society where numerous awakened would gather, crowding the levels. Every level is its own world, possessing their very own climate, environment and culture. And to access the next level, awakeners first need to pass a trial. Currently, the second level is where all the awakened are lodging in. Comparing to other levels, items are much easily obtained here. Since it's easier, gathering enough achievement points in the first level is also crucial for equipment purchase. Thanks to my memories from my past life, I was able to defeat the monsters in the hardest difficulty. Fortunately, the more I fight, the more muscle memory I regained from before. I gripped the weapon in my hands, confidently proceeding with the trials awaiting me. You have successfully passed the first trial. Here are your rewards for level 1 difficulty 10. 10 achievement points, 30, 150, 1000. All stats upgraded to first ranking. I couldn't believe how fast I progress in this level, with the rewards I received. My stats too upgraded in an exceptional speed. Staring at the achievement points I received, I was satisfied and ready for the next level. But before that, let's do some shopping. Well, let's see what I need. That's when I stumbled on a store which sold almost everything. Hi, welcome. A lady behind the counter welcomed me. You look new here. Tell me everything you need, well, or do you need any recommendations? Ask me anything and I'm at your service. She flirted. And I guess some things don't change, like how she tries to seduce customers into impulse purchase. Too bad for her, I know what I want. The leap skill, and the transformation skill too. After I told her what I wanted, her face quickly turned serious. Did someone give you tips, or should I say can you even afford it? She mocked with her smile. Leap requires 150 points, and transformation 1000 points. She continued. I looked at her with a smirk on my face. Here, I said. Transaction went through, her reaction was priceless. How did you get so many points? What did you do? She claimed in rage. The polite and elegant clerk finally showed her tantrum. She then calmed down and continued. There has never been a person had earned over 1000 points in the first level. Are you seriously from second level? Yeah, I am just a normal customer, I replied. And that's when she stood there as if a statue, not believing what she has witnessed. Meanwhile, I sat on a bench near a river just to check whatever that is in my dimensional bag. It's an inventory. Just like in games, you will have a small bag where you can fit the biggest item: sword, spear, bandages, and medicine. I think I bought enough provisions too. I guess I have whatever I need. Let's take a look at appraisal. Every skill has an required mana level which Awaken needs to fulfill. Skills acquired will be upgraded along with your proficiency in them, but some skills could be level up instead of proficiencies. These are known as level growth type skill. These skills are rare. The only level growth type skill which can be purchased in the store is transformation. To upgrade the skill, use Mana Catalyst. However, the only Mana Catalyst I have is the lowest grade one, which is diluted with water. Mana Catalyst is important as it would amplify mana level and load abilities. This items could raise magic power without the need of proceeding to the next level in the tower or raiding dungeons, and they are available in basic reward shop when your trial is over. When it comes to trial reward shop, I tend to overlook them as I was always too focused on the making to the next level. However, there are hidden treasures in them if looked carefully. For example, this low-grade Mana Catalyst can come in handy as it eased upgrading magical abilities during the early stages. It tastes disgusting though. It's such a relief to have memories from my previous life, since I get to keep my knowledge about transformation and magic catalyst, which can be of good help in the future. Excuse me. A familiar silhouette appeared behind me suddenly. Are you free to talk? I know this voice, heard of it somewhere. The voice was too familiar, but who is it? Even though my senses are sharp, I couldn't sense his presence. Sorry if I frightened you, I didn't mean it. When I saw him, immediately memories of him came flooding in. I remembered who he was. He is Choi Hak-jun. Choi Hak-jun? He was a genius amongst the Awakeners, but in the near future, he becomes the main culprit of the massacre of a big guild. Everything all right? Something on my face? He asked. I snapped from my thoughts immediately. I was just surprised, I replied. To be honest, the Choi Hak-jun standing in front of me doesn't seem as murderous as the previous one. Is there anything I can help you? I asked. I was following you since you were at the store, and can't help but notice you know the items. He replied. That creeped me out. I immediately clenched my fist anxiously, hoping that he wouldn't know my secrets. So about that. In fear, I stared at him sternly, planning my next move. Do you want to be in a party together? He asked joyfully. So that's what he wanted to ask me all this while. I was so perplexed at his invite. How can a once murderous person now turn into a cheerful person? Second floor difficulty level 10. Your trial will begin shortly. You have escaped with treasure of the Charles clan. Right now, the angry members of the clan are after you. Your task is to escape with the treasure and survive in the forest. Soldiers, or probably they are more like tribal warriors. They don't look human. More of an in-between of a dinosaur and a primate. The tribes are all over the forest, investigating the forest to track my whereabouts. I was hidden in one of the tall trees looking down from above, ensuring they couldn't find me. These monsters are hunter-type monsters, which means they could track their prey easily. And seriously, the trial wants me to escape from this guise. That's insane. But why should the trial be this difficult? I looked down at the treasure around my neck to check for its functions, and guess what? Functions unknown. This item has no use and I need to protect it. What a great trial. So now how should pass this trial? Suddenly I realized something. While one of them was still sniffing the surrounding for my whereabouts. I leaped in front of it and dashed towards it. Then sliced it to two. I found out that to survive this forest, I would have to eliminate every last one of them in the forest. From the trees, one of the monsters sprang forward armored with shield and spear, ambushing from behind. Calmly, I swung my sword behind me, killing it. BTW, they are monsters. I didn't have time for pronouns, alright. With few slashes I managed to struck down several of them. This monsters travel in groups, a party wouldn't be so bad, I thought, recalling the invitation from earlier. Choi Hak-jun did make a very good point when he said that the difficulty would increase after level 5, and thus he wanted to create a team to accomplish trials of higher levels. He smiled gently at me, hoping that I agree to his offer. I felt so bad on rejecting his offer. However, his goal is only to achieve level 8, which is considered low to me, as my goal was to be the best of the best in every level. Right there and then, a shadow appeared in front of me. I looked up and saw a monster from Charles' clan is riding on what looks like a real dinosaur. We have a monster riding on a dinosaur before GTA 6. Of course, every game needs to end with a boss. Yay, that's the final boss of this trial. In a blink of an eye, I leap as high as possible, bringing the sword above my head and slash. Both the monster and the dinosaur was butchered into parts. After the kill, I picked up the treasure. The unique ability of the treasure of the Charles clan includes healing all injuries and removes all status ailments affecting the player, 5/5 uses remaining. That's quite a useful item after all. I wasn't expecting abilities from that piece of crap, but turns out killing the monsters was a good idea. My stats increased much faster than the past. Through the use of transformation I was able to understand the boss's skills. Most importantly I obtained the skill Berserker, a skill which strengthens physical abilities for a period of time proportionally to the amount of fatigue and stamina, aiding awaken during emergencies. It was quite an exhausting but fruitful day. With the rate I am growing now in no time I will be rumbly. I guess every hero needs to recharge from time to time. Fatigue 81. Now let me just get out of this forest. Back home, I was astounded by the food placed in front of me. It's a meal fit for a king. I'm sorry I can only cook so much. It must be tiring studying non-stop until now, son. You must have been tired. You went to work despite your body is severely injured yesterday. I claimed in an apologetic tone. I'm fine. I'm always happy to cook my dear son a meal, she replied. Those words were so soothing that I began to wonder if I was only her true son. I stared down at the delicious meal prepared in front of me, scooped the rice and fed it to my body. I was very touched and grateful by her actions. Thank you, mother. Although I am not your son. Oh my. She stared at me as I gobbled up my food like a glutton. You looked very hungry, she continued. In my heart, I vowed to protect her with all my life, even if it means the most painful death I would go through for her. After the wholesome meal, I logged into the Abyssal community online just to find out that I was trending. Not in a good way. I received much backlash on my achievements, claiming that it was faked or I cheated. My name popped up on every chat box and I'm receiving much hate through it. From questions like who is he to statements like that's impossible. My name Kim Soo-hyun became the most mentioned name in the entire community, just because my achievement points gap too much between the second place. And right now the whole community doubts my achievements. This time I have a gut feeling that my achievements might turn against me.